You hear what your dad said? Maybe make it 2/3 of a bucket, because that one cow will eat quite a little. The big red cow doesn't eat any. No.
But when you come back home and you find out that learning, by doing is so much more important than the theories that are presented to you by a bunch of scholars. I can see a lot of headaches with this ear change. 429, you're a member of the family now.
Now, Karen, don't negotiate too high for salary.
We're doing what we want to do. If Karen hadn't taught, we couldn't have made it. And we think we do a reasonably good job of producing. Our problem now is worrying about what we're going to do in the future with land and costs and stuff the way they are. It could change much faster now than it has in the past 15 years.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And she's gone. Come on, stiff and sore. Well, Andy, go over and check that fence and make sure that steer's out of there.
Yeah.
And I think if you've got time, is catch your horse and get that cripple in.
Okay.
With Andy Witt as his only hired help, Eddie rents 2 ranches and helps his father with the family place. The cost of raising cattle is rising faster than the prices they bring at market. So every year, Eddie needs to raise more cattle on more land just to break even.
They'll get the same. You just can't make a living on 100 cows like these guys used to do. That's why Dad's had this cow trade and, this other business going on.
How big are they, Joe?
Well, there's some big ones and there's some little ones, and there's a couple misfits in there you may not want. I've got a yearling steer carryover.
Boy, they're fat.
I see one I don't like.
Well, there's that one, and then there's one other black one in here.
There's your 4-H calf, huh?
Yeah.
I don't see how you can get them to do that good on straight hay.
I wish I could
You
start.
go over there and look at the feed rack. What's in there?
Well, I just did.
Price won't hurt you because they're going to weigh so good you could almost give them away.
Yeah,
and it'd still,
I've always
you're
been
still
told that. Yeah, you have a 1,000-pounder, you can take half as much as a 500-pounder. I know all about that.
You could take a couple of dollars off for what they're weighing. They're weighing 50 pounds more than I thought they were going to.
Well, I'll tell you, the market is weak. I would like 66 and a half.
How would you like 65? And you just bring them all.
Steers and all?
Well, I didn't say that the steer's at 65, but we'd take them at 65.
I know you would.
Then you wouldn't have to sort them off.
Then there wouldn't be any sort.
And bring the 2 odd ones there?
Yeah.
And keep the steers back.
What do you want for those 2 little steers?
What'll you give me? I want to see what's on your mind. I told you what was on my mind the first time.
I'll give you $74. One thing about wrestling bales, rather than wrestling people, when you move a bale, it'll stay where it's put. And, you can see what we've done. At the end of the day, you can say, "My God, that field is clean."
Right after high school, I started out as working in cowboying, but I went to carpentering for a while.
The thumbs gave out.
And then, I don't know, I just missed the outdoors and stuff like that. It amounts to a lot more than the dollar a wage.
I don't want to move because I've been 10 years on this place. Love is a funny word, but I have deep affection for it. It means a lot to me. It would be hard for me, as selfish as I am, to see some other character on it because I know he wouldn't take care of it like I did. Even if your mother looked like that haystack over there and she had fed you and nurtured you, you'd still have some affection for her. And that's the thing the land does for you. And these cows, hell, I feel stronger for my cows. God, they're part of my life. We know them and what they've done, and because they are the thing that keeps us going. And that old cow will go out and off that same acre of land where somebody wants to build a house, she can go out and even with poor management, come in the fall with a calf with her. That's the greatest miracle in the world. And if you just kick her out there, she'll do it again next year, in spite of your management practices.
Changing West will continue in a moment. We return to The Changing West.
Did you skip school to come up here today?
Half a day.
Half a day. Well, that isn't so bad. Where's your mom? Is she sitting over there?
Yeah, she's over there in the green shirt.
Turkey trot. Now, traveling this year, she didn't accumulate enough points to make it to the finals.
Okay, I'll let him move.
Girl in the number one position, Mary Ann Ellen Hill. Here we go. That first cowgirl.
I know that people look at us and laugh at us because we rodeo on the weekends. My God, you're supposed to be haying on weekends. When there's hay to put up, there's hay to put up. What does it make hay when the sun shines? Well, work a little harder during the week, and then you got it all.
There it is. There's the flag, and it's over. Here's Absarokee, Montana.
Were you always this competitive about rodeoing and everything?
She was much worse.
Really?
When Karen was
I've
in
mellowed.
college, when I met her, she won the National College Goat Time, which doesn't take horsemanship, just takes determination. You know,
Yeah.
who wants to maul a goat? But having never done it, she won the national title that year, and it was just competition.
Yeah.
And I think she's been a kind of an inspiration to me and been a headache to Matt, because Karen she's almost too competitive.
But Matt
she
tells
gets
me
very
that he learns
concerned.
a lot from his mother.
Well, she sure offers the lessons if we can learn from them. Reed Hall, 4th floor. I'm following this girl up the stairway, you know, and in that day and age, you couldn't wear slacks or jeans to class, you know. Yeah, we were almost ostracized for wearing overalls, the boys were, you know. You're supposed to dress up a little bit. I noticed this girl with rings around her legs, about halfway up the calf, and that had been from her overshoes out feeding her horse before she went to class. And I thought, now there's a down-to-earth woman that won't want a lot of frills in life. I wonder what her face looks like.
That's awful.
I don't know, we always were friends, always respected her because she was terribly competitive, tried awfully hard, and was never a complainer. And, you know, and then, I don't know, we just, as we rodeoed together, I learned to appreciate her more. That's when we decided to get married. That was on a Saturday night. Sunday morning, we drove to Absarokee and shocked the folks because they didn't even know we were very serious, did they?
No. You want to tell what your dad said?
I called Dad. I said, hey, Dad, guess what? We're getting married. He says, do you have to? He never said who, when, why.
Yeah, that's no
I
Merrill.
thought, that's old Mr. Direct. And from there on, couldn't have been easier. I guess we're more worried now about the future than we were as young people.
Yeah.
We've been roughly in a 2-year planning process for the Smiths.
The Stillwater County Planning Board. Public hearing on the proposed subdivision of the Clarence Smith Ranch.
Yes, people. Tom, I'd like to make some comments. I usually don't get into any of these. To start with, I have nothing against the Smiths. They're good people, etc. But what bothers me is what's happened to the community, etc. This is my thinking. You know, I'm selfish, I'm prejudiced, etc. I have my pieces of cake, and I don't want anybody else to have any of it. And I think it boils down to a way of life. And I think the people that are going to be greatly affected are Flanagans and Millers, the right next door neighbors. Certainly the community as a whole are going to be affected. And I think it's true with every subdivision we got. We're looking at economics. If you own a store, I think it all boils down to this, you know. If it's going to put money in your pocket, are you for it or against it?
You asking me personally?
No. It's a way of life. You got to give up something for it. And that certainly is one thing, you've got to give up this money. Here's the point, Tom. I go out to Clarence Smith, the door's open, I come in, he don't like to see me. Who does when they're paying taxes? But I'm still welcome. I go out to Miller's down that way. I drive up to Stillwater, they got locks on the gate, and they've got 4 posts, and they got 4 signs, no trespassing, etc., etc. You know?
I went through this with our ranch at the East Rosebud. And every person that bought a cabin up there felt they were buying a bit of the ranch. You can't have a horse or a dog up there. You can hardly go up the canyon. You're not welcome. I don't like that kind of life. I'm too old to accept it. I really am. I don't like it. I don't care what Meryl and Eddie think. I don't like it.
We'll discuss this later.
Oh, no.
Any other questions or comments?
You and Pete can ride one out.
Pete and I'll ride the gray horse up.
Have to ride him to death up the road, I guess.
This isn't going to be retired ranchers that are going to buy this.
These are young couples or whatever, but they're
There are people with incomes that we don't realize.
really, it's amazing.
Why do they even want to move up here with us?
Because they want to get out of the city. They want to have a second home where they can get away and enjoy the things we talk about. We don't have to like it.
I don't. They don't think like I think.
I was too young. All that brush that you guys sold off when you bought the Rudd place, it's never been developed. And there was no plan. It's just whatever somebody wanted to buy, you sold it.
And it's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. They've got little old stuff in there and nothing, trailer houses, junk hauled in. We are the culprit. Smith is not the culprit. He's trying to do it right. You and I shouldn't argue about it. That's the two different, that's the generation gap, see?
Mother, come on!
The board approved the plan.
I think that a lot of people have come to the conclusion that it has been the best researched and best planned development in the state.
What if somebody came along and said, I'll give you a little bit more money and I'll just keep the ranch for agricultural purposes? Would that make a big difference?
Well, yes, I'd just as soon see somebody buy the ranch as a whole and use it that way.
Yeah. But it's hard for somebody to do that anymore, isn't it?
Well, it is. It certainly is, all right. Well, right now, we had such a struggle here 3 or 4 years ago in agriculture, the price of livestock, the way they were.
Yeah.
And there was a good many hundred people went broke. It's, you can't plan your life. Things just don't turn out the way that you want them.
Yeah.
If we had our druthers, it would certainly be to stay in the cattle business and be ranching, but it just didn't work out that way.
I know the pressures that the man feels. You can look down the river right here. In the not too distant past, we sold off marginal acreage.
Yeah.
To help pay for land that we thought was too high at the time. It was a way to own the land, to conserve, the thing that we feel strongly about. You sell a corner off to save the rest.
Yeah.
It's a survival thing. Agricultural land will not pay for itself, but solely, agricultural production off it. And you damn sure can't eat the beautiful sunshine and the fresh air and the mountain scenery.
Well, you're right then. It is a generation gap because I just hope I don't live to see it. And you're going to have to.
Now, we're standing on your land right here.
Uh-huh.
Right,
And right across that fence is the Smith land.
Right.
that's right.
And that could be Smith City in another 15 years, or whatever they choose
That's
to
right.
call it.
That's right. Yep.
Will your land ever go that way?
Boy, I hope not.
There'll be pressures on you, won't there?
Definitely.
And then, you say, well, if it does happen, you feel like, well, let's sell out and move. Where would you move? I'm never going to sell out if I don't have to.
But what would happen, Esther, if somebody came to you from California and said, now look, here's an ecologically sound, well-planned, new community. It'll pass all the environmental regulations, and I'll give you $2 million for your land, and you and Meryl can go wherever you want to, retire right now, not have to worry another moment in your life.
Where would I want to go?
We'd sell it. I'll speak for you.
I wouldn't want. You would. Where would we go?
Well, we'll find a place.
Oh,
We'll go live in the cabin,
No,
like the
we
rest
won't.
of the cabin
There's
people.
no place like that right there.
You'd sell, Meryl, if it came along with the right price.
I think I'd be
Would you?
economically, sensibly forced to.
I think he better get enough money out of it that he can buy his own Christmas presents. Because I don't know where he'd go for Christmas. What he's saying is, it is not facetious right now because you could sell this, Dad, and
Right.
you know damn well you could. And the only reason you haven't is because because the next generation is here to do it.
Yeah.
You'd really raise hell with him if he sold it.
Well, I'll tell you what, it would change everybody's lifestyle.
Where would he go?
You'd have to try to find an employable skill again,
Yeah.
I think that the whole thing is that we're comfortable and we don't want to become uncomfortable. It's really a personal thing. I like to ride up on that hill and look at all the ranges of the mountains and pretend like the world is mine. And I want everybody that can walk or ride feel the same way.
Come on, old girl.
And I don't want to look at 100 houses.
The Changing West will continue in a moment.
In the Beartooth Mountains, geologists have discovered one of the world's richest deposits of platinum, the Stillwater Complex. This project could lead to jobs for several hundred families. Mining companies are proceeding cautiously under strict environmental regulations. It's a small exploratory operation for now.
I really don't think this area here is the area for their smelter or concentrator or whatever. It's kind of greedy to say, I want to keep this all for myself. Sure, I want to keep it this way for myself. But also, the water is everybody's. The national forest is everybody's. The air is everybody's. And should I, a landowner who's lived here and I'm not getting a damn dime out of the mine, be burdened with the taxes to put their kids and for someone to get rich off the minerals they're taking out of the mountain up there? And the minerals to start with, they're on federal land. There's been a lot of fighting in the community, different views, people for, people against. So it's split the community.
Oh, my feeling about this country is I've had the best of it. I've been here all my life, and I know what the country was like, and I can see what's happening to it. And you can't go backward, I know that. But I think that we better get on our horses and save what we have left. Not just for us, but for the thousands of people for generations that would use this land. And you never own the land. I don't own this land. Paul doesn't own the land. We use it for the time we're here. I never saw anybody taking much of it with them. And I think we're going to be looking at our food base in America, just like other places are, if we don't take care of our agricultural land.
Montana was formed as a mining state. After the mines came, then the cattle came to supply meat to the miners. And for several years, Anaconda Company ran the state. They owned the newspapers in the state, they owned the legislature, they owned everything. And whatever laws they wanted passed, they had passed. And a lot of those laws are still on the books. It seems like that right now we're in a minority because we're one of the few people that think if mining happens, there's got to be restraints on it, constraints on it. And a lot of people don't think that way. I was born and raised right here on this ranch, and you learn to like it, maybe because you put so much work into it. You never see very many people. When I was growing up, I went to a grade school that was 10 kids in it. You spent some time with those, and most of the time that you spent was with older people. And you learn to talk with older people and share with older people. And the values of just being here and seeing the wide open spaces and seeing the deer and the elk, and all of a sudden you see something happening up the valley from you that could completely change that whole realm of the values that you placed on everything.
Give me a rough of your land here, where it goes to. It goes up over here, right?
Okay, see that point of rocks right up there? Okay, comes down that point of rocks like that, and then over. And if you count the points here, the next point beyond where the blue sky disappears.
Yeah.
Okay, point of that hill, also. And then hits the west fork of the Stillwater over there. Comes back about to Carter's Camp.
That's a good chunk of land.
It amounts to about 4,800 acres.
A lot of people think of Montana and these mountainous valleys and so on. They think you put up with ferocious winters.
No. Where we put up with ferocious winter was in Dakota. They were ferocious down there sometimes.
Yeah.
But I've seen jackrabbits going on across the prairie in February and kicking up dust, too.
What makes life so special for you out here?
Just not having to deal with the people and all their problems. And
You're not antisocial.
not really, no. We just, like, the days I dread are the days I go to Billings. And you have to fight the traffic, and you're just in a big hustle bustle to get here and get there and hurry before 5, and you order something, and yeah, it's not in because somebody else goofed up, and the whole realm of how all society works. It's just a go-for-broke thing. It's, you spin your wheels for nothing. Where out here you can sit back and say, well, if it doesn't get done, you're the only reason it didn't get done.
How about you, Walt?
Well, like I said before, I don't like gobs of people.
Now, what's a good gob in your judgment?
Well, a good gob would be about one family in a township. That'd be enough.
I was born here 57 years ago.
Yeah, so you've been through it all.
And I've been through it all.
Is it better when there's mining or better when there's not mining?
Well, is it better when you have a payroll in the area or when you don't? Most of the local people who have, well, sons and daughters, fathers and mothers who have to make a living, they're willing to give a little, take a little.
I grew up on mining money. My father worked at the mine from the time I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
The mine saved him from the Depression. And I know it's vital to this community to have some income.
So you don't see it as evil, you see it as...
No, not with Montana's laws. If I thought some mining company was going up there and ruin my mountains, believe me, I would be there with a large club.
Yeah.
I
Now,
would.
what about the tailings that go into the water and that kind
They're not going to allow that. They really aren't.
You're really confident that it won't have any...
You bet I am. If I thought one of those mining companies was going to damage my mountains, I'd be up there. Believe me, this would be one mad Norwegian.
Think it's a good idea that mining will come back?
Well, they've got to have it, but I hope I'm dead when it does.
Why?
I like the country the way it was when the Indians had it.
Yeah.
What's the number?
129.
Okay, good calf. Shoot her up. Fetus is in there in the uterus, see? And you go in through the wall of the gut, and you can feel the fetus, see? Depending on the size of it. And of course, you can feel the cotyledons, the placenta, and everything. Yeah, I mean, the calf is large. And Bandit, you come over here and lie down. Come on. And see, these will be 5.5 months along, see, and their gestation's, what, 9.5 months? Early calf. Our operation here involves agriculture, right here. Right here. We have a marginal agricultural operation. Marginal. We have to supplement it. Okay, we've got a ready-mix business. I do custom dosing. To our economy and our way of life right here, this mineral deposit in itself could be damn significant to us. It has in the past. It is right today. And unless these cow prices improve, it damn well will be tomorrow.
But you kind of got two worlds here. I mean, you got a ranch and you got a kind of a small construction company enterprise, don't you?
If you don't have a ranch big enough that your children can work on it too, what do? They've got to eat. They've got every right to eat. They've got a right to work and put clothes on their back.
Yeah, a lot of people come out here and say, gee, you can't do anything to this valley. Look how pretty it is and how beautiful the mountains are. Why would anyone want to come in here and change it in any fashion? What's your reaction to when someone says that? What do you want to say to them? Especially an outsider like...
Well, I'd ask them a question, how are they going to change it that way? You know, look, we've had mining here. And the thing, out there we got... I'll tell you just here in a second. plane pouring that up, Lee. Well, I think anyone up there hates to see change. But the thing that we must remember is that as time goes on, as the population increases, we're going to have change on the amount of people. We got more people. I mean, you got the right to come here. You didn't have to get clearance to come into this area. I don't think anyone else should have to do the same thing.
Well, as long as they don't find out I'm from New York, I think I'll be okay.
So I brought an even 100 head, Buzz. I think I got 6.
How does that look to you, Keith?
Good enough.
All righty.
Whip them off. It's sure been nice. We got the same price we did last year. I mean, same expenses, if not higher. So why not the same price? So in agriculture, they say you live poor and die rich. And this is about what it all boils down to. In that, well, when your estate's settled up, if Sam still takes a big slice of it. And you're rich then, but you're gone.
The Changing West will continue in a moment.
We already extended our season a week or so here, because we're going to go now. We know that, right?
It was really great this year. This year we all had the strategy that we were going to do good because we thought we had the potential. Like at the beginning of the season, no one had come to our basketball games, but until we started winning and was rated in the conference and in the state, they started coming because they wanted to see a bunch of winners. We've played together since, I guess it's been 6th grade, because we've had a little basketball team. We'd play area teams. And that's how come I want to play at college, because I like that team feeling. I like being together like that. I don't want to go far away where I want like if I go to Billings and go to school, I like to have the idea that I can come home on weekends or come home when I get sick and tired of things.
When you're around here, you know, your grandma lives here and your uncle lives here and your dad lives here, and you can't do anything. They always find out. So I just want to get away.
I bet you're back in about a month.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks a lot.
You wave with that arm.
It will.
So that'll look.
So you just wave.
I do with this arm.
You have to wave. Well, if we do.
He says you have to go to college because there is no future here. You can come back after you make your money, then maybe and retire here, but that's about all, he said. But yet, maybe I might come back and live here and work on the ranch after I go to college if I don't like it.
The North Queen candidate is Brenda Barron, and she is being accompanied by Ronnie Peterson.
I know everybody in my class is scared half out of their pants to leave here. There's 30 in my class, and I'd say probably 10 at the most will go to college. You gotta be scared sometimes, I guess.
I think we are still relatively close to the colonial style of government. Montana, you still are fairly accessible to state legislators. Do you know all the state legislators in our district?
Would it help if we did?
I think so. I think the
They
thing...
probably wouldn't listen to us anyway.
I think it was very evident that a small group in the community was able to make their voices heard in the mining issue.
We graduate 35 seniors a year. There aren't 35 jobs available here in 4 years if they all get a college degree or if they all become master mechanics. So there are no job opportunities, so to speak. And so you have to tell them that. And of course, we run surveys, you know, how many, does the grocery store hire 2 people or 3? And does the gamble store have any help? And can you get a job with a state liquor store? And you're limited.
You try to prepare them to go elsewhere?
Well, as best you can. It's hard, you know, when you're dealing with a 17 or 18-year-old student, it's hard to tell them, you know, you're going to leave home and not return, because home is always someplace that you can go sleep, get a hot meal, and somebody will talk to you who kind of likes you.
The guest on the scoreboard and wearing orange tonight, the Absarokee.
More than one mistake now. Let's type accurately. Here we go. Ready? Begin.
Growing up in Absarokee going to make it easier for these kids to go out into the wider world?
Yes, they've had to work in their homes and they've had to work on their ranches, and they know how to work, and that helps. Who fastest? Okay, good.
Some of them are a little frightened about going on beyond Stillwater County. And should they be?
No, they should not be. I don't think they really are either.
You've been out there a little bit.
A little bit.
And then you came back here.
Yes.
Were you ever a little frightened of it?
Oh, definitely. I think that's why I can help some kids, because I know how I felt as I was leaving school, and I didn't think that I could do a lot of things, and some people encouraged me, and I think that's why I probably try to encourage others.
Whoever's open gets the ball. No need to panic there. You're panicking, Ronis, and you're just throwing it. Take your time in it. I called that time out, told you I wanted to run some time off. We went out and threw up 3 straight shots. Boom, 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 boom. We wanted to use some clock up while our big person's sitting next to me.
Gwen doesn't go out so far. It's all right. You're going clear out more than in.
What do you mean out?
Well,
She means you're going out this way.
Yeah,
You're going out this way.
You're
too
going
far.
clear
Just go
out.
right through here.
That sakes down Smell, clear down here.
What are the qualities about this team that would make them different than, say, other kids?
They give 100%. You know, they just won't stop. You could tell them to do anything you wanted to, and they'd go try it anyway. And they let you know if it didn't work, but they give it a try before they let you know that.
On that thing. The conference championship goes to the Absarokee.
Changing West will continue in a moment.
I don't know where I'll end up. Probably back here.
It'd just be pretty hard to leave this.
After college, and I go work. What do you give me such a funny look
What do you
for?
think she ought to do, Wanda? Come on now, let's get it out here on the table.
No, I just never knew that she wanted to come back on the ranch. I thought she wanted to go on, maybe not back here, but back on in this neighborhood.
You want to come back to Absarokee?
Yeah.
Why Absarokee?
It's a great place to live, and it's home. It's right.
Yeah.
As far as my experience, I think that she should not settle down for, go out and see things, do things. Don't get married like the 2 years out of high school or whatever. Try to like what? Like me. Oh. Okay.
Wait a minute, Mike.
Well, it is. It's really hard, though, when you're not prepared for life and your future and have to have a kid and settle down, all of a sudden be in the house when you used to be an outsider doing something. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I don't think Brenda could do it. See, Mike and I now are trying to break away and trying to prove to Dad and Mom that we are responsible, that Mike can run a ranch and that someday can come home and they can trust him with their ranch instead of, not being able to trust him, not knowing if he can make it.
Well, I never made any decisions on the ranch when I was a little kid. Just go along and help your brother.
Yeah.
Go help him move the cow.
Right.
And, of course, as they grew it up and kind of left home, it narrowed down. There was just two of us boys at home. And then we kind of got to just barely getting to where we could kind of make a few decisions on my own. I had some responsibility. I had heifers to calve, and Dad sold place. That's, I haven't had a lot of experience of making decisions on my own myself. This is Tom's place, and I'm not going to tell him what to do. He's been here longer than I have, and I don't feel sometimes that I don't have the right to tell him what to do, and I'm not going to.
I've never changed my mind at what I've wanted to do. I always wanted to be on a ranch. I wanted to be with horses. If it wasn't for the horses and the riding, I don't think much of the ranch would really appeal to me outside of living in the country, because there's nothing too glamorous about any of the other work that has to be done. A lot that Wanda and I have in common is that we like the horses. When we're riding and working cattle and working the stock, we're always together. It's a good way of life. There you are, and you're doing what you want to do, and you're enjoying it.
Ho, girl! Hey, cows, come on! Hey, cows! Shut up!
That's 12.
They weren't as hard last time.
Get out of this corner. Move out of there.
Head her right in. Head her in. Break her tail.
Twist it.
I am breaking it.
Come on.
Here, I'll
Just climb the fence and swoop them across. Try that.
Yeah.
Come on now, girl. Yeah. Come on.
Come on around. There go, Mike. Get this black from that tail. Take this black one till I get a tail. Yeah, you're right in. You crank her tail.
Some days a cow will go in there and be okay. Some days she'll fight you. Oh, they try to outsmart you all the time, but you just kind of got to let it go. keep on going because that's all part of it.
I've spent many hours just waiting for them. When one goes, they'll all go.
When I came here, Tom, he needed a hand, and so I came here and I told him, well, I'd help him. And he really needed somebody to help him at the time. But, you know,
We've never had an argument. Have we?
No, we get along real good. You know, Tom has 2 good daughters, and they're managing, they're learning. You take young girls like that, it takes a while for them to learn.
I tell you, I'm counting them.
Some women like to stay in the house. I don't like to stay in the house. This is our job, you know.
She's a pretty good cook, though, too.
I like to cook, too, though. So.
That's it.
Okay, that enough?
That's it. Don't get in the pickup and drive out.
Well, I get stuck.
You're the driver.
I know. Here, have me your hooks.
I'll take the hooks.
I told you. When I was a little kid, Dad never hired a hired man. So him and I would always go feed. I can remember I was so little that I could fit, you know, in this part of the steering wheel and just sit there and drive as a little kid. I've been gone a long time. I grew up. I was a part of the ranch. I can make decisions. Now I come home with a husband, and it's just different. I can't make the decisions anymore. I'm in the house, and I'm not used to that. I grew up as my dad's boy, and it's really hard. But see, I want to take the back seat because he's the husband. He's going to do it. He's going to make the decision where we go. I don't want to make the decision if he doesn't like it here. Dad told us he can't pay us like the going wage like every other rancher around here pays their hired man.
Right.
He isn't ready to retire, but we have to survive on a fixed income. When he started out, he denied himself of everything. In this day and age, people don't deny themselves of everything.
Well, why shouldn't you?
Why shouldn't we? Well, because it's just the everyday thing. We're not going to cut out. We're not going to quit driving. We're not going to say we want some ice cream or say we want some chocolates. We don't got enough money, so we're not going to town and buy it. It's just a type of life we live in this day. We like to go to town. We like to eat ice cream or chocolates, or we like to go to Billings to a show, or we like to go to Billings to eat. Well, Dad says, costs too much gas, can't drive there.
That's pretty tricky, isn't it, Tom, when you have all the members? It's not just another hired hand when you got Mike out there, right? It's your son-in-law. It's your daughter's husband.
I try to treat everybody right. I try to. I've asked Mike lots of times, what do you think about it? And I try to treat everybody right.
But it puts a little additional pressure on, doesn't it, with the family?
We have another hired man, and he's been here for about 7, 8 years. And I try to consult him. I try to consult everybody and try to get along. My mother is 86 years old. She still owns this place. I have to divide with her. I divide with everybody. But I'm the SB of the whole works.
You're the great divider, isn't it?
That's the whole damn thing.
These are the people who make the American West what it is for the rest of us. When all else is changing, we count on the people along the Stillwater to continue the American traditions of independence and hard work. It's not easy. No matter how hard they work, the West is changing. Their independence, the Western way of life is disappearing. We can only hope that the spirit of the Western people doesn't disappear with it.
Ladies chain across, she turn and chain him right back home again.
Next on A&E, modern Renaissance man Steve Allen narrates a sobering look at the history of atomic power on Our Century.
By the Rio Grande, take this lady by the hand and promenade the Rio Grande and take them back home, they'll pass so.
circle now. From 30,000 feet above, I see El Paso City there. Left Alabama your corner. Come back to Dos Santos, man.
NBC News produced this program and is responsible for its contents.